Not Nerd Podcast, episode 380, Invest in Chickens.
Welcome to the Not Nerd Podcast. I'm Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
How's it going there, baby?
Oh, jeez.
I'm looking at you with bedroom eyes through my camera
Yes,
today.
yes. His previous pick of the week.
Yeah, I was leaning in really close.
Yeah.
So my apologies to
The quality is amazing. So
If you want to see some of my pores, I can zoom in. Check this out.
we definitely need to get video podcasting going so that everybody can enjoy what I'm enjoying right now.
Yeah, there's even a little bit of face oil on that nose.
Yes, Dave's nose pores of the week.
There's the show title, perhaps.
Yes, indeed.
We shall see. Well, how are you? A birdie told me that you've been away for the past few days at some event in some state nobody's ever heard of, like California or something.
Yeah. I was down south in California, and if you happen to catch I did a story on the Not Nerd Meta account, if you will, and posted a few things on PDX Fast Foodie and etc. I was down in San Diego at the San Diego Convention Center, home of San Diego Comic-Con, which was not happening while we were there. I was there for Social Media Marketing World.
Or affectionately known as...
It's just such a mouthful. They need a nickname for it, but... Anyways, I went with friend of the show, Wes, which, full disclosure, him and I do quite a bit of work together outside of with my Consist Media and stuff. We were talking earlier this year, and we decided to go, and it was a whirlwind 3 days of different sessions, but I did want to bring it up. Obviously, it was about social media. We talk about that a lot. It was kind of funny because we've got a story in a little bit, but as we're there, actually, I'll wait for it. Tease that one out and talk about other stuff. But, a lot of talk about Facebook. I believe it was the opening keynote, maybe. The guy that puts on the show, Michael Stelzner, he said that, Facebook is not dead. They've got, and we maybe have talked about it on the show, 2 billion, with a B, active users per day. And so just that, everybody's kind of, you can't do ads on there anymore. You can't do this. But a lot of the overarching theme, which is something that I really believe in my business, is just the storytelling through ads and kind of the personalness of it, relationability, that really I respond well to those kind of ads and that kind of marketing as opposed to $50 off, buy now, scammy, spammy type stuff.
Well, and I think another thing people don't realize is that you don't have to get 10x return on everything. It's like, it's okay to earn a little bit of money or business through ads without doing 30x or whatever all these tech bros are trying to spin everything out of control.
And they're, with TikTok for your business, you don't have to do the latest trends and dances. It's like, just have interesting, valuable content.
What?
Like the Not Nerd Podcast.
Exactly. If we could get some of that. No, I see what you're saying.
Yes.
I see.
Yes. But no, it was a really good conference, and got to meet a couple like Ray Edwards and Pat Flynn, who are two big people.
Industry giants.
Sean Cannell, who's a big YouTube guy, and then Cliff Ravenscraft, he was the podcast answer man. And he told me when we were talking, he said something like he was recording like 37 podcasts a week at one point or something. He had... Early in the game, he had a Lost podcast, and then it was like, this works. Did like Game of Thrones, like every popular TV show. So huge in the podcast, but Wes and I connected with him and spent a ton of time talking to him, and very little about podcasts, all kinds of other life stuff. So it was really a good trip. We had a good time down in San Diego. So
very cool.
Yeah, we recorded the last episode early, and then we're recording this one at the normal time. So it's been a while since we recorded, Dave.
It has been. I've missed your musk, to quote Anchorman.
Yes. And One of the yes, San Diego.
That's where you were.
Yes, I was. But a story I saw this week that was related to one of the sessions, because they had a couple sessions on like Web3 and NFTs, and I'm like, they had two different sessions at each time. I was like, I don't need that stuff. And I go, you know what? I think we should check this one out. So we went to one, and the guys spent basically the whole time talking about Starbucks has this new, they're calling them stamps, but they have this whole program. It's part of their rewards program. And it's NFTs where you can earn these different digital collectible stamps by, if you get a different drink 10 times in a month or go to different stores, you can earn these things. And he was showing that, because I don't know if you know this, there's some fans of Starbucks in the world.
Well, and for full disclosure, I must tell our audience that my adult daughter works for Starbucks.
Yes.
And there is no advertising.
This isn't a pay for play. You didn't tell me to talk about this.
No under the table stuff going on here.
Yes.
This is all above board.
Yes. So it's called Starbucks Odyssey. And he was showing he's earned some of these stamps. And then there's a resale market within the rewards program. So if somebody doesn't want to get that one, but they're trying to get all the stamps, they'll buy them for hundreds of dollars. It's a crazy program. So and they don't call them NFTs at all, which I think is a good
powered by
thing.
Web3 technology.
Yes,
whatever
indeed.
That is.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody knows what that is.
Which I think is basically from in that session, he didn't get too deep into it, but it's just basically blockchain type technologies, decentralization. But yeah, it's Web3 and NFT are these two terms, especially with what happened with the NFT boom. I'm just kind of like, but there is some interesting stuff going on there.
I'm going to join the wait list right now.
Yeah.
This is the first I've heard of it.
My wife should, because she is a Starbucks Gold, I don't know, whatever. She goes there more often than I do. The one that I teased earlier, so there was, as you can imagine, several sessions and a lot of people talking about AI and ChatGPT and different services like that. Well, halfway through the conference, OpenAI decides to roll out ChatGPT 4. So I'm sure a couple of these speakers are sitting in their room trying to read as much as they can and make some adjustments to their presentation. But so they have rolled out ChatGPT 4. I think it's only for the pro users, but Bing has already been using a version of this. And they're teasing out when it'll be live and be able to use current data. It's still based on the same data set. They've just expanded and improved things. So this week, Microsoft announced that ChatGPT is going to, I don't think we talked about it last week, roll it into all the Office apps. Google's saying it's going to be in all the workspace apps. I mean, this is going to be everywhere.
It's a little frightening to think, because let's say things go wrong. I don't know if you watch Wallace and Gromit, the trousers that have gone wrong. It's gone wrong, Gromit. Anyway, look it up. It's quite funny. But what if all this technology just goes wrong?
Yeah.
And then Microsoft and Google have all this egg on their face, and then they have to pull back and change their product offerings and pull all this stuff out. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems a little immature still to be
moving this fast into it. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And we didn't go to many of the AI sessions. There were some more specific ones. I'm hoping to go back and watch the videos later. But, just in some of the conversations, it was more, like using it to, if you're a marketing person trying to do a blog post, to get an outline or get some different tips. And I do feel like there are some people that are putting a lot of eggs in this artificial basket.
And I want to believe that they know more than we know. Yes. They're like, oh, well,
it's perfect.
We're down the road from you. We know what we're doing. And it's like, I don't think so. I feel like everybody's getting the fear of missing out, the FOMA, and they're like, I got to put this in my thing. And then it's revealed, ChatGPT is taking over the world and crashing airplanes or whatever.
Yes. So it is moving fast, and we're just along for the ride. And not to be left out, it's been a while since we've had any SBF FTX news.
Oh boy, that's still a thing, huh?
Yeah, well, it is, and So the people that are now kind of running the company and looking into everything say that he got $2 billion with a B in loans from his own company, as well as many of the other
How convenient.
people. Yeah, so that's where it's really seems like it's going to come down, is where all this money went, and that they kind of got all these magical loans and gifts out of the company that were not on the up and up. So
I mean, that's one thing. If it's your money, you can do whatever you want. But it was not his money.
No, it was money that people had put into the company that was like then getting secretly moved over to the Alameda Research and then loaned out to them. So that's not fun. And also not fun, we've got some follow-up on Facebook and Amazon and layoffs.
Oh, I thought they already did the layoffs.
Yeah, well, Facebook's doubling up and going to do about 11,000 more jobs.
Excellent.
Yeah, and Amazon's going to do about 9,000 more workers that they're going to lay off. So they are doing some cost-cutting measures.
Yeah, the big equalizer here, it's when you have rampant growth, there's going to be a time when you got to start chopping some things off to maintain.
Yes, and I think there was a quote in the Facebook article I have linked in the show notes that was basically saying that Mark Zuckerberg has said that he's looking to run a more efficient company this year.
Interesting. Efficiency and being good stewards of the things that you have. What crazy principles.
Crazy principles. So, sorry if you work for Facebook and Amazon and you no longer have a job, or soon will no longer have a job.
Well, that's okay. You can always go into journalism. Oh, wait a minute. GPT. I forgot about that.
Yeah, or you could go into banking. Oh, we'll get to that later. Oops. Yes. And maybe better news. How many of these stories have we had over the years, Dave? FCC orders phone companies to block scam text messages.
Please look back at every other episode we've ever done where it talks about this. And I've said time and time and time again, all that has to happen is Congress needs to say, fix this problem or you're going to have to pay for it. Yeah. And the problem will be solved. Well, guess what just happened? This is an Ars Technica article. FCC orders phone companies to block scam text messages. What? They could have been doing this the whole time. Yeah. How many billions of dollars in lost money and time and resources has the American people or the global population suffered because the FCC and other governmental entities won't crack down on this stuff? So it's finally time. Yeah. But, is this just a fancy article and then nothing's going to change? Who knows? Yeah. Who knows? But anyway, if you want to get my blood boiling, you just
talk about scam and spam and spam calls and text messages. Ugh.
And be sure to stay for our pro tip of the week regarding more on that.
Nice. This next one from Reuters, we were talking a while back, they passed the CHIP Act, where they were encouraging chip manufacturers to start making computer chips, not potato chips or tortilla chips.
Gotcha.
Or chocolate chips, but computer chips in the U.S. And so this is an update to that. Samsung's new Texas chip plant cost rises above $25 billion with the B dollars, up more than $8 billion from initial forecasts.
25 billion up from 8.
Up more than 8. So it was originally 17 billion. So
I heard that it was 8 billion and they were spending 25. I'm like, is the government behind this?
Oh, yes, they are.
Of course they are.
But they do say it could go higher. The increase in cost is primarily due to inflation and construction costs and all of that. And they mention in the article a couple Taiwan Semiconductors. Their new Arizona plant has gone up to 40 billion. So there was a reason they weren't making chips in the U.S. before. So now that we're throwing lots of tax dollars at them, we'll see if they continue these plans as prices seem to continue going up.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to accomplish, but I hope that now with automation and AI, to borrow a term, maybe they can solve some of these problems so that it decreases the cost of making some of these chips. Who knows?
Yes, we could only hope. And speaking of prices going up, my dear beloved YouTube TV prices are going up again.
I mean, there is a magic price that Hollywood, tech, big communication, whoever wants you to pay for content.
Yes.
And all these prices seem to rise up to the price of cable.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happening. Is like there's this price that they gotta have, and even if they slice it and dice it and split it up, you're still going to be paying the same amount. So they're slowly turning up the juice on this. And after a while, you'll be like, I'm just going to pay for Comcast. It's easier.
I know. They're blaming a rise in content costs. So it's going from, it's been at $64.99. It's going up to $72.99. I get a discount through T-Mobile, so I think I pay $55. But I think it started at like $45, and I still don't even get the Blazer games. And
I totaled up all of our stuff between borrowed accounts, thank you, Tyler, and ones that have special deals of like $250 a month for this thing or whatever. Totaled them all up, and it's not very much for me. It's like $30 or $40 or something like that.
Yes, I'm getting very close to just turn off the YouTube TV because again, through other services, I can get something to play on the background while I'm doing something else, which is 90% of my TV watching.
Well, what you need to do is cancel everything and just do one service.
Yeah.
Watch all the content till you're tired of it, switch services. I think a lot of people are just going to be doing this cycle. Oh, the new Mandalorian's on. I guess we're going to sign up for Disney.
Yeah, because I mean, with my internet, it's getting up close to Comcast costs now. And I will say, when I am over at my parents' using their Comcast, I used to be pretty bullish on the Comcast DVR and all that stuff. But now that I've used YouTube TV, I'm like, man, it's a pain. So there are some advantages to YouTube TV, but that's why they think that they can keep raising the prices.
Yeah, totally.
And another YouTube TV for March Madness, they rolled out multi-view, which I got an email saying that I had early access to.
That's cool.
So you can watch 4 channels at once, and I tried it with March Madness. I didn't get to watch much with traveling and other stuff going on, but I had the little prompt there, do you want to watch in multi-view? And I turned it on, and it was 4 TVs all playing, or 4 screens on my TV all playing commercials at the same time.
Wonderful.
And then they just have the audio going for all of, like, there's no intelligence to it, so it's just like blah, 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 and I'm like,
that's weird.
Yeah, it was not ideal, but for some people that might be good.
For people who like to go to bars and restaurants that have games, it's like, it's just a wall of sound playing everywhere.
Yes, but other than March Madness, I don't know when you would necessarily want to use that, but what do I know? Well,
I have picture-in-picture on my TV, and we were going to try watching a show with the little game going in the corner. I was all for it, and Val's like, nah, just turn the show on us. We'll just look at the scores. I'm like, it'd be kind of cool, but...
Yes, when I bought my first big screen TV, picture-in-picture was a very important thing to me, and I used it maybe 5 times in the last 15 years.
The killer app for picture-in-picture is playing video games and watching a TV show on the same TV.
Yes.
However, fast forward in time, I'm going to count the number of screens within arm's reach. You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 LCD displays. They're not all set up to offer me content, but we don't need picture-in-picture anymore.
No. Yeah, when you only had one TV in your house.
I think I forgot one. 8. Sorry.
Yes. And when I bought that TV, it was literally before, it was like the same year that the iPhone came out. So it was early on in this digital world that we now live in. Mm-hmm. But all that follow-up aside, Dave, you've been waiting for it. You keep texting me.
Yes.
And I said, this week, we've got it. The listeners have been waiting for Microsoft Patch Tuesday, March 2023 edition.
Finally. It's finally out and we can talk about it.
Yes.
And one of the big things is as I skimmed this article, elevation of privilege. What's that all about?
Yeah,
I don't know. It was the only thing in quotes I could find.
There's, so the intro paragraph from Krebs on security. Microsoft on Tuesday released updates to quash at least 74 security bugs in its Windows operating systems and software. 2 of those flaws are already being actively attacked, including an especially severe weakness in Microsoft Outlook that can be exploited without any user interaction.
Great timing for Microsoft Outlook to be available to everyone for free.
On Mac, yeah. But yes, this is your monthly reminder to please keep your devices updated for the security perspective especially. Mm-hmm. And what else you need to keep updated on is Dave's Pro Tip of the Week.
So my tip this week is, Nate, wait for it. Don't fall for scams.
Oh.
Or phishing attacks. So go out there and tech better. Yes. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Yes.
So a friend of mine had an incident this week where they were surfing the web on their iPad. And oh my gosh, a warning came up that the device had been infected by 11 viruses.
Ooh.
And they needed to download this app right away, or else, Russia was going to hit the red button and nuclear war was at hand. So this individual downloaded an app, installed it, waited a while to talk to me about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, you fell for one of the most basic of basic scams. And what this was, the person was on a web page and there was an ad that popped up. It was either probably a pop-up ad or one that was on the screen of the website this person was visiting. And it was constructed in such a way that it looked like it was a warning bubble from the operating system on the iPad.
Yeah.
And so you click it, it takes you to the App Store, you download the app, and it installs. And in this particular app, it was click here to install. It's $0. It's a free trial subscription. And you install it, etc. Well, I went and looked, and a previous tip of the week where you can go into your settings and look up the subscriptions that you have going on. Looked in there, and in 7 days' time, it was going to start charging $9.99 a month for this no service that this app did nothing but live on your device. So lesson was learned. I canceled the subscription, deleted the application. All is well in the world. But I wanted to remind our audience that Apple will never pop up a thing that says, you've got ads, download this app right now. It is not a thing that Apple does. Conversely, the iPad and iPhones, they're very gated in the sense that it's not easy for viruses and malware to get on these devices. Is it possible? Yes. Have we talked about those things in the past? Yes. If you're not a person who has a state-sponsored organization coming after you, you're probably safe. Those things just aren't out in the wild yet. So normal, everyday people don't have to worry. If you're on your computer, if you're on your Android phone, well, I don't know about Android, but if you're on your devices and you see these scary things pop up, they are almost certainly 99.999% of the time an ad designed to extract money or information from you. So don't click them. Don't worry about it. If you see one pop up, just ignore it. Just close the web page and go about your business. There's nothing on your computer. There's nothing wrong.
Yes. And
for iOS, I was going to also mention, it's a good thing if you come across some of this stuff to go into your settings. And I'm just going to open up my phone right now. In your settings, there is, under the general setting, there's a VPN and device management. Click on that. And if you see anything in there that you don't know explicitly that you put there, you need to delete it and get rid of it. Because what some of these applications do is install a VPN, a virtual private network, and they can intercept and redirect all the traffic between you and the internet by using that VPN. So you don't want that on there unless you explicitly put it on there. And then there's also an area called profiles. And you can find that under that general tab. If you see an item that says profiles, that's a device management profile. There is third-party software that you can install. I use some at where I work that can be installed on a device, and it can do various things, require passwords. It can give you access to a Wi-Fi network. Or the point is that profile gives the third party very high control over that device. Yes. And they could do all kinds of nefarious things, like have a keylogger on there that records every keystroke that you make and records what websites you go to, and so they can wait for you to go to the bank and then type in your password. I mean, you don't want a profile from anyone also. So maybe what you should do right now is just go to settings, go to general, look under VPN, and look under profiles and see if there's anything wonky in there. And if there is, get rid of it.
Yep, I would agree. And those scams are common, but yeah, those are two things on an iPhone or an iPad that are good to check to make sure nothing weird is going on. Well, thank you for that. And we'll actually, in our security and privacy, be talking a little bit more about that type of stuff. But on to our takes of the week. I teased it earlier. Banking's not in a very good spot right now, and the main one that has been talked about is the Silicon Valley Bank, SVB, another three-letter acronym that is not good.
Banking, it's so not hot right now.
Yes. So there's more of the overarching global banking stuff, but I linked to an article from Ben Thompson at Stratechery on the end. It's titled "The End of Silicon Valley Bank." And this bank in the tech world, it was where lots of startups, lots of companies, I've got a couple other links in the show notes. Etsy actually had a problem with this, where they were delaying payments to all their people, which a lot of regular people use Etsy to sell stuff. Roku had millions and millions of dollars there, and there was a run on the bank because they were not taking very good care of people's money, and my understanding, and please, disclaimer, do not take financial advice from us. I have limited understanding, but they had put a lot of their money, more money than they should have, in long-term government bonds, so they were locked up for 10 years, and then the interest rates start going up. Well, they're still making the piddly interest on all those long-term investments, but people are wanting more interest rates, so they were upside down. People started taking their money out, and when a bank, everybody tries to take their money out, which is rightfully theirs, unless you're Sam Bankman-Fried, they kind of run into a problem. So the government did step in, and they're not bailing out the investors in the bank, is my understanding, but they are giving people that had depositors their money. Now, even I know that the FDIC will insure up to $250,000. It used to be $100,000 forever, and then the banking crisis of 2008 and the housing crisis, all that, they moved it to $250,000. So even I, who most likely will never have $250,000 in the bank, knew about that limit. But all of these startups and everything, they're like, it's just easier. We'll keep it all in one account. Nothing will ever go wrong. This bank, they're doing awesome things for the environment.
Yeah.
So they're good people there. So,
and I think the crux of it was bad marketing of the situation, because I think the bank said, hey, we got this problem, but don't worry about it. All your money's insured and everything. And some people are like, oh, wait a minute, that sounds bad. And then, of course, the echo chamber happens, and they're like, wait a minute, your money's safe. And at the end of the day, everyone's money was safe. It just wasn't fluid enough to get people the money that they wanted right away. So that gave people an opportunity to be scared. But no money's going to be lost. The government doesn't have to bail anybody out by spending money. It's just unlocking access to the money they already had in a quicker way. So my guess is the government lent them the money that they needed, and then the money's still there that people invested into the bank, and it's going to be coming back out at a later time. Anyway, I think it's okay, but it's a good lesson in maybe communicate well to people and communicate the correct information. And I mean, there's a whole protocol, but it seems to have started by the bank just kind of nonchalantly saying, well, we got some issues. And it's like, wait a minute.
Yes.
A lot of powerful people had their money in that.
Yes, and that one in the tech bros, a lot of tech bro money in there. And there have been a handful of other banks that have gone bankrupt or whatever they do over the last couple of weeks. So it is kind of an interesting time.
Well, we don't have to worry about it because we don't have any money.
Yeah. And I was going to say, we said to kind of stay away from crypto. We don't really know what we're doing with stocks. Stock market hasn't been good. And it's like, well, do you keep it in the bank? Oh, I don't know about that right now. Well, do you keep it under your mattress? Inflation's pretty bad. I figured it out, Dave.
Okay, what's the solution?
Pro tip.
All right.
Invest in chickens.
Chickens, huh?
I don't know if you know this. Egg prices are up a bit. And now I can't have chickens at my house, but I get my eggs from my dad's cousin's farm down the road, and he's got acres and acres. So I was like, I need to help him come up with a plan where you could buy chickens, then you get eggs in return down the road, but it helps him grow his chickening. Is that what we call it? His chicken farm?
So you're kind of buying a share that's paid out instead of dividends, you get eggs.
Yeah. Like if a couple of years, if you would have gone in on egg futures, you'd be a rich man these days.
I guess so.
So that's the only sure bet.
Well, here's what's going to happen. Everybody's going to run out and start a chicken farm, and then things are going to...
Then I'll be able to get cheap eggs again?
Well, yeah, but things will equalize, and then we'll have all these extra chickens.
Dang it.
What are we going to do with all these extra chickens?
You can also eat chickens, I've
interesting.
heard. Yes,
Okay.
Chick-fil-A. You can sell them to Chick-fil-A.
Well, I'm a big Buffalo Wings fan.
Yeah. See, there you go. The possibilities are endless. Yeah. So once again, I will remind people not to take financial advice from us, but my bet is on chickens.
All right. Well, I was hoping you were going to say invest in the Not Nerd podcast by visiting our Patreon at notnerd.com/giveusmoney.net.
I don't know if I can even make that possible, but yes, I can guarantee no returns in investing in the Not Nerd podcast besides more of this great content and advice like investing in chickens.
Better teching is what you're getting.
Yes. Well, T-Mobile, our cellular carrier, has announced that they're going to buy Ryan Reynolds Mint Mobile in a $1.35 billion with a B dollar deal.
I'm conflicted on this because I think Mint Mobile was a very good service for a lot of people who it was a prepaid plan. Yeah. It was a great service. It was inexpensive. It had some perks. Of course, you had the handsome Ryan Reynolds making jokes and marketing and all this stuff.
Great marketing.
And so it was like the cool place to be. The cool kids are at Mint Mobile. And then T-Mobile goes and buys them, and now they're just going to be folded in, like something cool is going away, and that is sad. But at the same time, here's why I'm conflicted. If someone told me, I want to give you $1.35 billion for the thing that you have, it would be really hard for me to say, no, I think I'm just going to put up with the headaches of the customer service and the employees and the tech stuff. It's like, no, I'm just going to go buy a private island and live on it.
Yes. So they are saying that they're going to keep it as a separate business unit, and they will keep, I've heard several people talking about this, and they do have a $15 per month plan that if you're prepaying, you get, a very limited amount of data. It would not work for me. I believe friend of the show, Dylan, maybe made it his pick of the week, or at least talked about it when he came on the podcast a while back. I think he uses it, and it is, that is a lot of the discussion is that it was kind of the rebel cell phone company, but they still ran off of T-Mobile's network. So
yes, but you know what big companies can do without consequence? That's lie.
Yes.
So they can say what they want, but they don't have to do it.
And over time, which I did want to mention on the whole banking thing, that there's been much talk that the big banks like our oft-mentioned JP Morgan Chase is going to be buying up a lot of assets, so the big banks get bigger and the big cell phone companies get bigger. I see a trend here, Dave.
Yeah. There's something that they did back a long time ago called deregulation, which I don't know. Do we need to have more regulation?
More deregulating
I don't know if more
regulation?
deregulation is the answer, but we shall see.
We shall see.
I don't have the answer.
And speaking of big things, big printer, HP, so they've kind of had some stuff where they really didn't like you use another ink. Well, now some of their printers have had an update where it just completely bricks third-party ink, and you cannot print at all, and you can't do anything.
If you buy a printer from a manufacturer that has a practice like this, which HP and I think Epson too,
they might, yeah,
then you are a fool. You've not done your research. I don't know what the solution is, but I would not buy anything from a company that requires you to buy their proprietary cartridges just to run the stupid thing. Inkjet printers have been around for like 50 years. This is not like, oh, this is a cutting edge. No, they're just trying to extract more money from your wallet. So I would go as far as it, like if I had one of these printers, I'd check it in the trash and I'd go buy something else. That's how angry I would be about this. But there's a trick. There's one weird trick I'm going to share with all of you at home. And I've said it before, but you may not remember. You don't need an inkjet printer. What? But I got a printout. No. You get a black and white laser printer. The toner lasts 5,000 years.
Yes.
And it's inexpensive. And if you need something in color, one, you either do without. We're an entitled society and people aren't used to doing without. Or two, you go down to Kinko's or to Costco or to Walmart and print out your photos, your documents, whatever. Just don't have one.
Do it at work.
Man, your life is going to be so much easier.
Yeah, printers, and everything in the world is moving to more subscription-based stuff, and this is just the way that somebody like HP can jump on that bandwagon, and it is frustrating.
Well, you don't need it is all I'm going to say. You may want it, but you don't need it.
Yes. Well, let's go to a more positive note. You found this one, the privacy loophole in your doorbell.
Yes, and man, I ranted on this before. I was very upset when Ring, the doorbell company, and aren't they owned by Amazon now?
Yes.
They had this sneaky trick where they were partnering with law enforcement, and they were just handing over your private, personal video from a product that you purchased and is in your home potentially, just willy-nilly, and that left a really bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
Well, it gets even worse. It seems that judges now are just like checking a box on a search warrant. This one particular case is they ask for footage from a person who had a Ring doorbell for a crime that had happened that was like on the other side of the street or something.
It wasn't house.
Yeah, a neighbor's house. And so I think they reluctantly, or they said no, or they reluctantly give information or something. Anyway, it ended up a judge signed a warrant so that the police could get all the video footage from this Good Samaritan neighbor, including footage from inside his house, which was not relevant to the case at all.
Yeah.
And so he was not the criminal. He was not being accused. And the police came in and took all his video anyway. So, I mean, people in Paris right now are on the streets rioting. Why aren't we on the streets rioting here?
Rioting for Larkin here, Michael
this is
Larkin.
Crazy.
Yeah, and he had a business like on his property or something. They got all that footage. I mean, it's really frustrating.
So why don't we take a moment here, and I have some suggestions for people.
Yes.
If you have any type of camera system, it is possible for, a camera system that talks to an internet server somewhere. It is possible for a judge to sign a warrant to give it to police. So you can protect yourself by not utilizing services like that. Yeah. We've talked about Wise cams. Now, they have little SD cards that you can put in them, and it records the information locally on your device. And they're not very useful if you don't connect them to the internet. But at least the vanilla out of the box, they store just some events, occasional events on there, not full recordings of anything, unless you pay extra for that service. I would say get a camera like that, record your local footage, and then just use the events, which is 5-10 seconds that it puts up into the cloud or whatever. Or get a more expensive system like the Unify system where we use at work, where all of the footage is stored on a device at your location, and none of it goes online.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are options. You don't have to have Ring, but if I were putting
Which
in...
they could probably come after, but it would be a lot more difficult. And
yeah, I mean, they can get a warrant for anything.
Yeah.
Really,
yeah.
but if they don't know it's there,
And so after the initial footage of a suspicious car or something passing, they came back and said that they wanted all stuff from that date. And it says in the article, he declined that request. He says his main concern at first was practical. Each clip, even if it were only 5 seconds long, would take up to a minute to download and send over. So they were asking him to take the time to get them all this content, which there's the other side of it where Ring can just say, oh yeah, we like you, police department, here's whatever you want. Yeah. So it's a little frustrating.
It's out of control.
How many times have I said that in this episode?
Yeah, well, again, like the printer, if I had a Ring doorbell in my house right now, I would take a golf club and I'd go out on my porch and I would hit it, knocking it off in a very cartoon comedic action,
and you would film it, of course, for TikTok and our other social channels.
Internet clout for doing so.
Yes, indeed,
and some virtue signaling.
Yes. Well, speaking of your pro tip of the week, I found this one. Americans lost record $10.3 billion with a B dollars in online scams last year. So now we know why they're doing these online scams.
They appear to be very lucrative.
Yes, $10.3 billion. Yeah, as you look at the holistic cost of just the pain and problems that these scams cost, it is really...
That's... I wish I could spell that.
Show title. It's just... It says the most highly reported crimes were phishing expeditions, with 300,497 victims, reporting over 52 million in losses in 2022. So 300,000, and those are just the ones that are reported. How many people get phished, and if it's a smaller amount or they don't know?
How many people are paying $10 a week and don't even know it because they signed up for this thing and they're like, well, I'm happy to pay it if it's protecting my phone.
Oh, I know. Yes, I was talking to an older lady who was calling on behalf of a friend who had signed up for some... Well, they told me I needed to buy this security program or plan for my... And I said, I don't think they do. Just have them call me if they think something weird's going on. And it's just going to be one of those ads you were talking about. Mm-hmm. But it's so frustrating. Well, bonus odd take time. Let's cleanse our palate a little
cleanse everything.
And I found this one. It's at rinkworks.com/book-a-minute. And as you can probably guess, it is the Book a Minute website. And you're not booking a minute of someone's time. You're able to read a book in a minute.
Hold on a second. So it's not a minute excerpt from a book. I can read a whole book in a minute? Yes. How does this work? I'm intrigued.
Well, let's pick one. Let's go into the bedtime section, and we'll pick one that we probably all read as a child, The Indian in the Cupboard.
All right, I've got to find it. Okay, by Lynn Reedbanks.
Yes, and here we go. I will do a dramatic reading.
Okay.
Omri, I can put things in my cupboard and make them real. Little Bear, you can't use people. Omri, I've learned my lesson. Reader, forget the Indian. Why isn't this kid putting Monopoly money in there? The end.
So it's a Cliff's Notes on these stories with a little bit of commentary
with a little snark in the end. So The Indian in the Cupboard by Lynn Reedbanks, ultra condensed by Samuel Stoddard.
Wow, and there's a bunch of them on here.
Yeah, they've let's maybe do The Very Hungry Caterpillar. My daughter has that one.
Yeah, I read that to my kids.
Yes, by Eric Carle, ultra condensed by Samuel Stoddard. I will read this to you. Settle in, grab some tea, and get comfortable in your chair.
I'm ready.
Once there was a caterpillar who ate holes in stuff and turned into a butterfly. The end. Man, where was this when I was a kid?
Man, and
Isla, let's get some books on your summer reading program.
And the great thing about books is it's all in your imagination, unless it's a picture book.
Yes.
But I imagined the entire story in my head as you read that.
Yeah.
What a great book a minute. And I'm going to push back. That took far less than a minute.
Yes. And I've got to read, I will read one last one. One of my favorites as a child, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl.
That's a longer book. Let's see
what happens. And it was actually ultra condensed by both Samuel Stoddard and David J. Parker. So 2 of them to do this.
Wow.
So in parentheses, Charlie gets a ton of Willy Wonka chocolate bars. Charlie, hooray, I'm an instant winner. Willy Wonka, hi kids, 4 of you will undergo severe psychological distress that in the real world would get me sued, and 1 will be picked to be the special one. Charlie gets picked. The end. We just read 4 books to you. What other podcast read 4 books to you this week?
That's amazing. I mean, I think you can just stop listening to podcasts for the rest of the week. There's not anything more people can offer you.
Stop reading books. Just go to Book a Minute.
Has your wife, I bet she's read all these books.
She probably
in
has.
1 minute.
Yes, she has read the full versions, but I saw that, and it is just really fun. You can go through there and have some fun looking at those, and you really can get the story if you know the story through that. It'd be interesting. Let's find one that I don't know. I Can Hear the Sun. Let's see. Are you familiar with I Can Hear the Sun by Patricia Polacco?
No. Does this child have some type of audio telescope or radio telescope?
Let's find out. Stephanie Michelle, Willie Jack, and May Marie. We're all zonked out on the beach. Fondo. I'm going to fly away with the geese. Stephanie Michelle. Cool. Another loony. The end.
That book didn't seem very fulfilling.
Yes. So I think it would probably be better for books you are familiar with. But they do have a couple sections. They have science fiction and fantasy stories. They have bedtime. And then they have classics. So
right. I'm going to just look here real quick. It's probably not on here. I was going to see if they had the Lord of the Rings.
Well, I see. Covers everything from Tolkien to Dragonlance.
Here's The Hobbit.
Let's do it, please. Engage me.
It's longer. Should we?
We should.
Bilbo Baggins. Now for some peace and quiet. Oops, someone's at the door. Balin. We're dwarves. I'm the merry one. Dwalin. I'm the happy one. Feely. I'm the young one. Keely. I'm the other young one. Dory, I'm the funny one. Nori, I'm the joyous one. Ori, I'm the cute one. Oin, I'm the jolly one. Gloin, I'm the silly one. Bilfer, I'm the one with the funniest name. Bofer, I'm the one with the looniest name. Bomber, I'm the fat one. Thorin, I'm the one with a distinct personality. Gandalf, now that you're all here, let's go on a quest. And I'm going to cut out the parenthesis stuff. Bilbo Baggins, what have I got in my pocket? Gollum, I don't know. Smaug, I'm an evil dragon, hiss hiss. Bilbo Baggins, I'm going home. Peace and quiet, here I come. Look, I just saved you like 10 hours.
Yeah, so it is a little correlated to the length of the actual book, so thank you for reading more than I did for my 4 books.
Well, there were some quotes in the well, not quotes. There were some segments in the parentheses that I skipped.
Yes,
but you get the idea.
Yeah. So you can go check that out. Book a Minute. There's a link in the show notes, and I have a bonus mind bender here that I saw on Twitter this week. The release of Tetris is now closer to World War II than to today.
Yeah, but I mean, Tetris has been out a long time.
38 years, less than we've been out.
Yeah.
So
it is interesting, which when you think about it, it's not that interesting. But when we were kids growing up, World War II seemed like ancient history. Like it was so long ago. But I mean, some of the people who were in concentration camps just are dying this year, maybe last year. So
there's still people alive from World War II. And this comes from a Twitter account, actually, color me wrong, it's a Mastodon account. I just read you a Mastodon.
A toot.
From Botson.space, but it's the WWII halfway line. So I'm guessing they toot things as they get halfway away from WWII. So, but Tetris, man, I've got some great memories of Tetris.
Yeah. I think there's a movie coming out.
Oh, yes, there is.
The Tetris movie. So I will for sure be going to see that. And a little follow-up on, this should be in the follow-up section. Tyler and I stopped doing the Regal movie pass, Regal Unlimited, a while ago. And I got to tell you, it's been a long time since I've seen a movie.
Wow.
That's not on my television.
I've influenced you.
Yeah, so tomorrow I'm actually going to go to a film because it's cheap day.
Oh,
cheaper
nice.
day.
Yes.
And it's either going to be the Ant-Man movie because it's been out for 100 years and I haven't seen it, or the 65 million with Adam Driver.
Oh, yes.
So,
yes, who off the air, I believe we talked about your fandom for Mr. Adam Driver.
He's not the most handsome guy in the world, but man, he's a good actor.
Yes.
And I tell you what, if I met him, I would ask him if he would give me a hug.
Yeah.
And I hope that he would.
Yes. Well, it's not Adam Driver, but it is our picks of the week.
It's almost as good as Adam Driver. So last week, you may remember, I bought the Sony E10. What were the numbers? NV-9.
Sony's so good with their naming conventions.
Louise. So this E10 camera is what I call it, the old E10.
Yes.
But the fun doesn't end there. You have to have, is it ancillary? Is that how you say the word?
Gear up.
You have to have some gear for this stuff. And so I'd been learning about these items for the longest time. And I said, if I ever get a camera, I'm getting one of these things. It's a cage. It's an aluminum frame that clamps onto a variety of cameras. You have to get the one that's appropriate for your camera. But the cage adds all kinds of quarter 20 ports, cold shoe mounts, a various other host of wonderfulness, where you can clamp on lights, handles,
all the
clamps, whatever you want. I mean, it's unlimited. And through the magic of 3D printing, like I even printed things like this. It's a cold shoe mount with a quarter 20 post on it.
My goodness.
That I could use with my camera. So imagine a 3D printer plus a cage full of quarter 20 holes. I mean, you do the math.
Yes.
That's a lot of stuff. So I'm looking very forward to utilizing this cage, and it just lives on the camera. If I drop the camera, it'll help protect it. Right now, I've got something into the top of it that's connected to my swing arm, which is actually your swing arm.
Hey-o.
Nobody tell Nate that I didn't ever give that back to him.
Wait a second.
What?
My swing arm.
You're like, wait a minute, I'm going to be over there right now. Anyway, it's hanging from this thing. I take it off. I put it in my bag. The cage is still on. Maybe I put a handle on it and I do some filming with it, or I need something in the dark and I put a bunch of lights on it. So it's a really useful thing. So if you have a micro Four Thirds camera, mirrorless camera, digital camera of any sort, even for video cameras, they make these cage type of things. They're very useful. And I got mine from SmallRig, which is a company that you and I both love. Yes. And it was around $40. I mean, they'll range from 35 to 45 depending on the camera. But SmallRig sells very affordable ones for most of the popular cameras that are out there.
Yes, I also have a SmallRig cage on my webcam.
Very cool.
My Canon M50. And it is a very nice little piece of gear to help you out if you're using your camera in various ways. Mm-hmm. Well, my pick of the week this week. So last week, as I said, I was traveling and I left my wife and daughter at home. And so I was trying to think of ways to make their misery lighter in my absence.
Well, I mean, without you there, I'm sure they just sit around and cried the whole time.
Pretty much. So I had the genius thought, they both enjoy flowers and bouquets of flowers for various holidays and such. And I said, it's been a long time since I've ordered flowers, but if I could order some and have them delivered while I was gone, maybe it'd bring them a moment of relief from their pain. And so I was looking, I went to 1-800-Flowers. I had used them 100 years ago, and you have to, it's confusing, and you click, and there's all these add-on fees.
Is it like Ticketmaster now? It's
yes.
There's like a fee for this. You use the internet fee.
Yes. You clicked an extra time fee.
Yeah.
So I go, you know what? There's this website that I like to buy stuff off of. And I went over to Amazon, and I found the Benchmark Bouquets, Charming Roses, and Alstroemeria with vase.
Is this
fresh cut flowers?
Come on, this is a fake flower.
Yes, there's one thing my wife does not like. It is fake flowers, much to my chagrin.
How does Amazon sell a real flower?
Yeah. So they've got this Benchmark Bouquets is the brand, and it was Amazon Prime. I was able to pick the day for delivery, and they arrived, and they are beautiful. Came in a big old box, and they're still looking great a week later. But
are you sure they're real?
Yes, they are awfully good fakes if they are fake. But yeah, so I had never thought of it before, and I went on there, and we are really pleased with the results. This product has 1,283 ratings, 4-star review. Dave, won't even ask you unless you really want to guess how much.
$45.
Oh, Dave, that's pretty good for me not even telling you how many flowers or anything. It's $43.95.
There you go. I just, I have a little bit of experience with this type of stuff.
Yes. And so what I was looking at on the other flower sites, it was about that same base price, but Prime free shipping.
It's good. And you don't have to create an account. Your financial payment is already linked. You just click it and go.
Yeah. So
the friction is very low.
So, check that out. If next time you need to send somebody some flowers, go to Amazon like you do for everything else. And if you want to check out our picks of the week or any of the other picks we have listed there, notpicks.com. I haven't even been there for a while in my travels and busyness of life to see if I'm supposed to be giving away a prize. I know we've had some more reviews come in.
I haven't
March
looked.
19th. So I will give that away next week for the selfie stick. I did not prepare adequately for that, but you can still find lots of great stuff to buy there. And please, if you're going to shop on Amazon, click through there. But yeah, we just want that to be a really great resource for you to find cool stuff.
Nate, do we need to put on the store just a link to Amazon?
We do have one near the top, but I'm going to get a logo there to make it a lot more obvious for people, because I know that can be a little bit confusing. So to make it more than obvious, big flashing neon GIF of click here to shop Amazon.
Right, but right now, if you click on any product and it takes you to
any
Amazon,
of our Amazon products, you can do it that way. But at the top of the page, there's a sentence that's bolded that you can just go straight to Amazon there. So great question, Dave.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, with that, we have talked at you long enough. We will wrap up this episode. Thanks for listening. Share it with a friend. Go to notpicks.com. Get out there and tech better.
Start with your drinking.
Yes, I'm
you
multitasker. I don't know why I have both my AirPods. Oh, I was cleaning them out a little bit because my volume is degrading. Okay.
Your voice is grating. What?
My audio podcast. Yeah.